Geeks Worldwide. It is Wednesday, and that means it's time to take another walk on the Geek Side. Welcome back, everybody, to episode number 3. As always, I'm your host, Darth Sparrow, and I'm excited to be back because we got a whole crap ton of news that we want to talk and give our highly expert yet totally not super valid opinions.
Don't bury the lead on it.
Yes, exactly. But as always, I'm here with my beautiful team of fellow geeks and co-hosts, as always, the lovely Miss Christina. Well, I can't really say that because she got some big news. Christina, what crazy things have happened since the last time we talked to you?
I may have gotten married.
Oh my God! Congratulations.
I say congrats because it's not necessarily something that tends to be an event.
Mrs.
Mrs.
Walker, congratulations.
Thank you. I am Mrs. Walker now, and no longer Miss Tellefson. Yeah, we will still have a big wedding eventually, just not yet. We thought we would just do our vows now and get that over with. Get the stressful part of it out of the way.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You better have that big wedding because, like, you're the only wedding I've ever. Okay, my sister's doesn't count because she's family, but you're the only outside family wedding that I've been asked to be a part of. So I'm looking very much forward to it, my friend.
It's going to be awesome.
I couldn't be happier for you guys. So congrats again on that.
Thank you.
Wishing you all the best and many years of life, love, and happiness to you and the Mister.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Deron, generally, welcome back, sir. How are you?
Hey, I'm good.
What's rolling and popping and skating?
There's a lot of stuff in the news, but I'm, was telling you before, I'm gearing up because I'm going to be at Dragon Con this weekend in Atlanta.
Deron, I'm jealous, man. That's one of the big cons that I haven't been to, man, and I've definitely wanted to go.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I mean, you've had the San Diego experience, which I have not. Yeah, so, maybe next year we'll switch off. Like, you'll go to Atlanta.
Let's trade it off sometime. San Diego. Or we just both go to both.
Exactly. Both go to both places. So just exactly. Yeah.
Like, I'll show you around my neck of the woods. You show me around yours, and we just call it a day and have a great time.
Exactly.
That's how we do, man.
Mm-hmm.
So anything in particular that you're really looking forward to in seeing at Dragon Con? I know Dragon Con's definitely a little bit different than your typical convention. Mm-hmm. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that, maybe to those listeners who aren't familiar with the Dragon Cons.
Well, I mean, it's big. I mean, I know San Diego is big, but they're expecting like 82,000 people in Atlanta this Labor Day weekend. And it takes place in like four different hotels and centers. So it's a big, massive thing. They have a huge parade. Like, I'm hoping I want to cover as much as I can, and I'm trying to see who I can interview. And I really just want to get into that Star Trek Next Generation panel. Like, I just that was my show and still is. But I'm just hoping to see as much as I can, experience as much as I can, and report everything that I see.
Yes, there's
there'll be a lot of fan crap, just like, this was so awesome, and then I saw this thing, and this is here.
Christina, you've been to Dragon Con, right?
I have, and it's basically Vegas for nerds. You drink a lot. Yes. I don't remember a lot of it.
I always recall Dragon Con being like the con where I would see, like, this is gonna sound like so male of me, but where I'd see like the extra risque costumes, like stormtroopers in lingerie, or like X-Men in lingerie.
It's that southern heat.
Is that what it is? It's so sweltering. I do remember that. But there's some amazing costumes there, man. People have drinking costumes, which I would love to go again, because I only have been once, and I kind of feel like I wasn't prepared, but I will be prepared for next time.
Yeah. You know what's one of the funniest things to me about Dragon Con, and I don't understand it because I've never been to, but there's like this huge, I guess we'll say, like, huge devoted fan base to the Marriott there and the carpet. The old carpet, right? Because they replaced the old carpet. Yeah. But it's like, I know, like, a lot of our friends who frequent that con every year, like flip out whenever they see that specific hotel in like any movie or any show, and they're like, "Oh, look, it's the Marriott from Dragon Con." I'm like, "What's with this hotel? I don't understand."
Well, that carpet is very distinctive. Like even when I would go there and it was not for Dragon Con, I actually went there with like my old job. We had like our like regional meeting at that Marriott, and it was while that carpet was still there. It was just so distinctive. Like I've seen people make like costumes out of that carpet.
Yeah,
like
they're amazing.
I saw I don't know if it's like, I think it's going to be shown this year. I saw somebody did like a full Spider-Man suit in that carpet print. I'm like, what the heck, man? This, I guess, you know, sadly, I will never truly understand since that carpet's gone now, but I guess it can live through it in costumes and random.
Well, it's gone physically, but it's not gone in the hearts and minds.
It's there in spirit. Of the general nerddom. But yes, it's definitely a con that I would like to visit before
next year.
Maybe
we'll go.
Before the little ones start coming. Yes. You know, I'm sure wifey's like, little ones, we need them now. So, you know, we need little geeks that we can dress up of our own. It's so much fun.
Little Googles.
Yes.
See, I have two of my own, and we're not dressing this year, but like we're already like, you know, brainstorming group costumes. Like I think we're talking about like this, like for this October, for this Halloween, we're just like, because it's me, I've got an 11-year-old and I've got a 3-year-old, all boys. So I think we're gonna go as the littlest one is gonna be Wally West. The youngest is gonna be Barry Allen, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and rock a Jay Garrick. And
beautiful. God, man, I love that hat, Deron. I love his.
I love it. That's what I said. I've been looking for that miner's helmet, looking like that.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
that's like one of my favorite parts of his whole outfit, his getup, and of course, speaking
Jack
of the show,
pretty badass too.
Yeah. You know, in the show version, at least, I just extra love that he's played by the Flash from the '90s. I mean, that was like probably like. I definitely one of the first, we'll say, comic book shows that I remember being like religious about as a kid, like live action. You know, just like it's something I'd watch with my dad, which I didn't watch a lot of TV with dad. Dad watched a lot of like old Western shows and you know, stuff that I thought was boring. But for some reason, Flash, was like, "We're gonna watch the Flash tonight, right?" Yep, we're watching the Flash. So
I think it was on CBS. It was like all parents watch CBS.
Yes, they had that street cred for the parents. Yes. Speaking of amazing shows, guys, I mean, I feel like it'd be a disservice to the geek community if we didn't start tonight's episode by talking about the phenom, the last episode of Game of Thrones, because man, some shit went down, some shit got revealed, stuff was blowing up. If you haven't watched it, you better turn this off now because it's gonna get deep, and we're gonna get the crew's reactions on the season finale of Game of Thrones. Christina, I'm gonna let you start since you're, along with the rest of us, huge fan of Game of Thrones, and maybe you can answer this while you're giving your reactions to it. I've been seeing a lot of, I don't know, just from my friends, but a lot of people seem to be disappointed with the storytelling of this season in Game of Thrones. I'm a very simple-minded fool when it comes to shows. Okay, if there's explosions and dragons and lots of we'll say graphic nudity, I'm cool with it. Okay. It doesn't take much to amuse me, all right? But I know there's some people that are very disappointed and they're saying they're very cliche with the plots and they're predictable this season. So tell me a little bit about what you think and what you thought about the season finale.
Yeah, the two biggest gripes I've seen are that the story writing feels lazy or contrived or doesn't really have proper direction or whatever. Part of that is because we don't have source material anymore. Martin never finished the books, and hopefully he does. I really want to read the differences between the show and the book. So, and I don't know how much he's working with the showrunners anymore. So we do have trouble with, are they just working with the best they've got? And that probably, honestly, they do have plot points they have to follow because George told them how it's supposed to end. So they do have plot points to hit. We just don't know how they may not know how to get to there. So I'm going to give them some leeway because I thought they did a great job this season. Yes, it was a little predictable, but it didn't make me enjoy it less, which means they did a decent job to me. The second gripe, which is the one that bothers me the most, is where did the chains come from? Well, how fast do ravens fly? Well, how fast do dragons fly? I don't give a flying fuck.
Right.
That's not why I'm watching it.
Hold on.
You have vagina monsters and flying dragons, but you're gonna bitch about the way that they show time passing in the show, which obviously time passed. It's not like it happened in the matter of a couple of hours.
Right.
If you're gonna let it bother you that bad, stop watching. So that was my biggest annoyance of like, why are you complaining? And if you pay attention, by the way, those chains came from a dock that frozen lake is in. Because I pay attention. Okay, so now to the finale.
Yes.
So, a nervous wreck. I pretty much am on the verge of a stroke every time I watch Game of Thrones now because I have no idea what's going to happen.
Lately, yes. It's like, do I have my heart medication? Yes, we can watch.
I hold my pillow and like it's like stuffed in my face, and I chew on the corner. Like it's literally, I am so stressed out.
Right.
Some really great things happened. Something I've waited for forever finally happened, which was the death of fucking Littlefinger. Yeah. And he begged for his life, and I was like, yeah, beg.
Like a bitch.
Beautiful. And so everyone complaining again, what's about Arya and Sansa and that whole plot. I'm like, see, I told you. I told you that it was a plot against Littlefinger. You should have trusted them.
Right.
I still wish we saw Ghost. Ghost has been nowhere this season, which is sad. They mentioned him this episode about I can't remember the exact line, but they did mention something about Ghost. So we know that he's still in Winterfell. I really thought for a hot second that Cersei was going to kill Jaime, and I was losing my mind because I was like, not like that. Do not kill him like that.
No. Yeah.
And then of course, the big thing to talk about is little bit of aunt and nephew boning.
a little bit of aunt and nephew boning, a whole lot of Jon Snow's ass.
Yes, some Wincesteros.
Wincesteros. Which the problem with this is, I know it's wrong, but I was like, yeah.
Yes.
And then I was like, ew, no.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though. It's like they don't know, though. So I have to keep that in mind. Is Jon and Dany have no idea. They have no idea.
It's gonna be real interesting
also,
to see what happens.
It's also a Targaryen thing. Targaryens do marry in the Targaryen family, so Dany might be cool with it when she finds out. I have a feeling Jon's gonna be like, "Oh fuck!" Yeah. And $20 says right now he knocked her up.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Well, I mean, you know, they went out of their way to throw that line where he's like, "Well, perhaps she wasn't the most reliable source," you know, about her not being able to bear children. So. I think that's on the horizon. There's a little fire wolf on the way.
There's one more thing too that I just noticed that it pops in my head just now that bothers me. And somebody, I saw it on the internet somewhere, that Tyrion, we don't get to see that entire conversation between he and Cersei. Right. And then of course we have the twist at the end where Cersei's like, I ain't gonna help them. Fuck that bitch. And you're like, oh damn. So it makes me wonder if Tyrion didn't make some sort of deal with Cersei. And remember, if you remember from the books and from even the show, Dany is left to be betrayed one more time. And I remembered that from the books. And I can't remember what the three things were. It was once for love. Oh, I'm a terrible, terrible fan because now I've forgotten. But there's still one more left, I believe, for her to be betrayed. Okay. So that worries me greatly.
Yeah.
That perhaps Tyrion made a deal with his estranged sister for whatever. Yeah, but I agree with you.
I don't know.
I'm kind of feeling that as well.
So
don't
once
again,
but I mean, they got a lot of stuff that they're gonna have to, a lot of things are gonna have to come together in the final season. So I'm hoping. And then the producers themselves said that the ending's gonna be bittersweet. So I'm not necessarily. So to me, that says maybe it's neither Dany or Jon / Aegon on the throne, but their child ends up on the Iron Throne someday. So
that might be the prince who's promised.
Yeah,
is their kid.
Is the actual prince.
Deron, what were your other thoughts on the show on the last episode there?
Well, I mean, I was on board. Like I sat and watched it with my wife, and we, I said, just almost every 15-20 minutes there was like a high five when something something awesome happened, because it was the tension. It was the crest, the tension then crested to awesome. And yes, Littlefinger was probably the highlight, because it wasn't even just his death. It was just that moment, that Sansa moment where she lays out the charges and then just boom, just pimps over to just like Lord Baelish.
So proud of her. So proud of her.
Boom. And because the whole time I'm like, I don't know if they necessarily was something that they, were planning for a while, but you had to know the whole time they were showing Littlefinger walking around talking to guards and people in Winterfell. They were also showing these three siblings walking together. Mm-hmm. So I'm read to the shit that what they didn't show was them talking to each other.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I'm sure this is a long time coming, and as I was literally like, this is a Godfather moment. This is taking care of some family business in Winterfell.
Was anybody else surprised? Because I definitely was surprised. Now that I think about it, that he made it this far. Like, how the?
Yeah, I was surprised he made it.
Well, here's the thing: they pretty much laid out how he's made it so long. Like they've laid it out. The fact that he's he spent the entire series pitting family against family so that he would end up on top.
Yeah, right.
So
that's crazy. Yeah, who knows what his end game was if he hadn't been, I guess we'll say, found out and executed.
I think he was. I think if he hadn't pushed, he was angling to end up with Sansa.
Right.
Because he couldn't be with Catelyn. So
right. Hey, he's like.
I mean, he made that very clear. I loved your mother.
Go for the younger one.
And now I love you. Ew, stop.
I loved your mother.
Littlefinger, God.
Loved you since you were a little girl. Creeper.
Creeper. Friend zone crap is going on.
I tell you, man. Through my mouth.
He's like the dark side of Jorah /Dany.
Yes. So but at least Jorah does stuff, though.
Yeah.
Yes. He's put his life on the line several times. Dealt with some grayscale and some good old fashioned medieval. Some good old fashioned medieval surgery for Dany. So I think he's a little bit higher on the totem pole than Littlefinger was.
Yeah,
definitely the one of my favorite scenes obviously would have been the end where the Night King just fucking rides up on his newly minted ice dragon and just fucking blows a hole in the wall.
Yep.
Crazy shit. I think I mean, not ever having read the books, Christina, I was kind of like, I'm like, so does he still breathe fire? Is there some crazy like ice stuff that he's gonna?
Well, that hasn't happened in the books, so.
Yeah.
So, we're all on the same page. Like,
yeah. So I was a little bit confused, but it was definitely satisfying to see his powers now as the steed of the Night King, and apparently all hell's about to break loose because there's a big gaping hole in the wall now. So what are your guys' predictions for where we're going to be brought back when season 8 hits?
I haven't actually given that much thought yet, to be honest.
I've thought about it a little bit. I think more along the lines of the new variable with the Golden Company.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I think what's going to end up happening is, and this again is all speculation, just based on wild imaginings. But I think the Northern Army is going to get pushed back, and they're going to try and look for refuge at King's Landing, but they're not going to be able to because it's going to be guarded by the Golden Company. So they're going to regroup at Dragonstone and try another offensive from there. So I mean, I'm not sure. I think it'll be. I think it's going to be I would love to see it just like huge battle scenes, but they've got a lot of story that they have to wrap up.
Yes,
sure.
So I don't think so. I think, but they're going to have to start. They're basically just going to have to hit the ground running in that final season.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So. Definitely. I think I would like to see definitely some really long episodes, obviously all next season. Just to feel like we get more
I think
stuff.
they're supposed
more of those hour-and-a-half episodes.
I think they're supposed to be about an hour and a half each, from what I understand, which is good.
But what sucks about it is now it seems like we might not get the last season till 2019. Yeah, which is gonna suck.
Hopefully we get it sooner, but I can understand production-wise why they're doing it. It's a little frustrating, especially if North Korea nukes us. I would like to be able to see it before that happens, but I can get why they're waiting for more snow to happen naturally where they're filming, which makes sense. And I think they're trying to work everybody else's schedule as well into that.
Yeah.
The other thing one of the big things that I want to make sure happens is Arya gets to see Jon again. That's like the number one thing. That has to happen. It's sort of like in Star Wars, I need Luke and Leia to see each other again. I have to have Arya and Jon see each other again. I think it would be interesting if Bran and Sam withheld the information from Jon that he's Aegon Targaryen. I think that would be, in some ways, very wise. So we'll see how that plays out too. I think that, I don't know. I think that would be an interesting plot choice if Bran and Sam decide to not tell Jon in order to keep things safe. I don't know what the right word for that would be, but keep it copacetic with he and Dany.
I'm saying now the only way that could actually work would be if he, three-eyed ravens himself into seeing his own brother having sex. He's like, oh, wait a minute. I should maybe not tell them.
Oops. There was a meme that I saw that was like, I was there last night. I saw your ass in the moonlight. And Daenerys is like, thank you, Brom. He's like, yeah, Danny, yours was nice too.
The best part was, by the way, I paused it because so HBO kept crashing while I was watching it, and I was getting so mad. So I paused it so I could rewind and listen to what Lyanna said his name was. So I'm like, that couldn't possibly be Aegon because there's already an Aegon. There's already his nephew. Wait, no, his uncle would be Aegon. Danny's. Wait, I think I might have it confused. Anyway, so I paused it. It happened to be a glorious butt shot, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna let this buffer for a minute. And Brian's like, really? I'm like, yeah, it's got a buffer.
Buffer. It's buffering, babe. Jeez, what do you want?
No, wrong with the remote and new batteries.
Yes. Real quick before we move on to our next topic, there has been a lot of discussion and debate about a very popular theory that Bronn is either the Night King or he's controlled by the Night King or vice versa. I don't know if you got how much of those theories you guys have read.
I mean Bran, right?
Yeah, Bran. And Bran, not Braun, Bran.
I was like, wait.
Yes, the cereal, not the strength.
That would be interesting.
Okay. Yes. There's a lot of discussion about that theory, and apparently, back and watch it now. But it's been hitting the all over the internet in the last 2 days that in the final scene of this season's episode, where the army of whites was gathering, that they formed the shape of wolf. So, and we know that in previous battles and death scenes where White Walkers have killed a lot of people, there's been a lot of symbolism with symbols that they've left with the bodies. So if they did that, it's definitely not a mistake or a happy accident. It was definitely intentional. What are your guys' thoughts about that theory? How does that, if that is what's going to happen, or if there's some kind of validity to those theories, like how does that change the outlook, if any, on the entire series?
Well, I definitely think that they're connected for sure. How? I'm not sure. Yeah. I mentioned that before in our last episode, that I think that they're connected, whether Bran knows it or not. Whenever he flies over and ravens to watch them, the Night King points out exactly which raven he is, and it usually snaps him out of his vision. So there's definitely something to it. I'm just not sure to what degree yet.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Bran is definitely a Night King Horcrux.
Yeah, true. Hey, that's a good way to look at it.
I mean, there's definitely a connection. I don't know if he's necessarily the Night King, but I think the connection might be familial. Like, I think
that he's a Stark for sure.
Yeah, that the Night King is a Stark.
He might be a Targaryen though, because he can ride the dragon.
Possible. I can see that too. But I think also is that the whole the formation thing might just be, hey, this is where we're going. We're going to Winterfell. So that's
foreshadowing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where next. All right. Well, guys, I definitely don't want to wait 2 years for more Game of Thrones, but
I don't
like
either.
I said, we'll see.
If Martin can release Winds of Winter, I will be happy. In between, at least give me the damn book.
Right, and that's the thing. If a book comes out, but in that time period, I think fans will be, they'll be fine, because I think somebody, I think it's probably even him, like said, there's like 30 characters that are dead on the show that are still alive in the books. So
yes,
there are people that want to read that contrast. You want to see that difference in story,
like the Dorne plot.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. So, guys, I know since the last time we talked, we those of us, Deron and I, myself, who got to watch the first episodes early, finally got to finish The Defenders. Christina, I'm anxious to hear your thoughts, because I know one in particular is going to come up. But I wanted to say I felt like definitely from season 4 on, it really hit a cool stride. It was a lot of action. Maybe some not so great story parts we're gonna hear in a minute, but overall the show itself, I would definitely put it up there with I would say my top 2 Netflix series, at least for me anyways. I like the whole, I'm really a sucker for the whole team aspect. I mean, when you have that scene where everybody just pops on the screen together and they start kicking ass, I'm just like, just I'm like butter, just melt me and put me on some toast. All right, so I'm all about it. I love the chemistry and the dynamic between most of the characters. We'll see most of them, especially like your whole dynamic with Daredevil and Jessica Jones. Kind of one of my favorite aspects of the series. I loved it. I think it's great, and it definitely leaves me hungry for more Netflix. Deron, what was your what do you think about the rest of the series and how it went down?
I think for 8 episodes, I think they worked in condensing it the way they did. Would have liked to have seen a little bit broader world, but I think the fact that they were kind of keeping it self-contained made sense. I like the Midland stuff. I like the last 2 episodes. I just I don't know. I just think there were too many moments where they purposely were sniping at each other.
Okay.
I think it's just one of those things where at some point you just have to realize you're in this together, and I don't think that kind of came together as quickly as I would have liked. Because it was just I don't know. But I loved it overall. I really did.
Okay. Awesome. Christina, talk to us about some Defenders, eh?
I agree with all points. I think it's actually a really good show. It's not my favorite. Daredevil is still the top. That's still great. But can we talk about how much I don't give a flying shit about Danny? And every time he talks, I'm like, he is the Jar Jar.
But Christina, he's the immortal Iron Fist.
and did you know that his parents were murdered?
He will not let you forget.
Yes.
This is one of the reasons why I stopped watching Arrow, because I don't care. Stop talking about your parents dying. Stop talking about who you are. Yes. We get it. All right? And I understand that he's kind of sheltered and like he never really had a chance to be a normal kid, teenager, whatever. But they're like taking that and stretching it a little bit to the point where it's becoming unbelievable and just fucking annoying. Like I tune out, which is unfortunate, whenever he's on screen and he talks. I'm just like, ugh. Like nope, I can't do it. He's really obnoxious, and I feel bad because I don't mind the actor so much, but I think the writing for him was just so weak. And I already, is his partner's name Michelle?
Who?
I don't even know what her name is. The partner.
Colleen Wing.
Thank you. See, I didn't even know what her name was because I want to be interested in her, but I can't find any reason to give a crap about them. Sigourney Weaver, though.
Yeah.
Holy shit, she's amazing.
Yeah.
But I say, but what's interesting is that and especially talking about Iron Fist was the interactions between him and Daredevil were actually some of my favorites, because it really was like, it was like Daredevil is who Iron Fist should be,
yeah,
maturity wise. Sure. But Iron Fist is the one that has the power. Like, just from a standpoint of the training was relatively on par. But you had Matt, who is an adult and acting like one. Right. I think what's funny is it looks like that influence is going to go into the next season of Iron Fist. Like, just from that last scene with him on the roof, kind of trying to be Daredevil-esque.
It kind of was like his, like, I'm gonna have to embrace this now.
Yeah, so it's like, let me step up and actually, let me stop whining about Kunlun and be and about something.
My parents being dead, and don't you know that I'm the immortal Iron Fist?
And instead, let me just sport this spiffy tracksuit and show off my face. Bam. Yes, but overall, now that that's done, I'm fucking so excited for the Punisher. I know there's teaser released trailers. John Bernthal is an amazing Punisher. He's so good. And God, man, I'm just excited to see how his standalone series is just going to tie into the whole Marvel Netflix universe. And I mean, shoot, man, can we get him in the next season of Defenders if there's another one?
Can we have him instead of Danny?
Yes.
Yes. What happened to Danny? Oh.
So you have to have Danny, but maybe have Danny be the person they have to rescue, and they have to bring in the Punisher.
Yeah. Yes.
One batch, two batch. Let's get this shit done. Vamonos.
Oh, I do want to say too that the color palettes in that show are absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because each character has their own theme color, and each scene that they're in and the way they blend it is fantastic. On the opening scene, I'm not 100% sure because I didn't research it, but it sounds like they combined all four of their themes. And I could be wrong on that, but it's more Daredevil sounding, but it sounds like they may have combined all four of their themes.
Yeah, I'd have to watch it again, because I mean, I didn't necessarily hear a lot of Luke Cage's theme in it, but I did hear like there were moments, especially in fight scenes, where you kind of got like the hip hop beats in the background with Luke, but I didn't necessarily hear that in the theme, but I have to re-listen to it.
Yeah, if you listen to it a couple of times, you can pinpoint each theme, and I could be crazy, but I thought this, like I said, you hear more of the Daredevil one for sure. It sounds more like his, but his is the more iconic one, in my opinion. Well, Luke's is too.
I mean, because it was the first, so you kind of
but I thought they did a great job with the opening credits and the color palette, which is hard to do in filming. Let me tell you what, as someone who's worked in production, like making sure you have the right filters and lights for each scene like that for each character, that's a lot of work. So good on them for that.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's those little things that don't get appreciated enough that aficionados like yourself really pick up and appreciate. So that's beautiful stuff. I can't, with the exception of maybe a little bit of Iron Fist, I can't say enough about what amazingness they've done with the Netflix Marvel series. It's just, we need more. We want more. Please. We want it. We want all the things. Christina, another topic that I'd like you to take us into. Lately, obviously, for various reasons like Batgirl and Justice League, just a name has been popping up a lot in the geek medias, and that, of course, is Joss Whedon. Not necessarily all about great things, specifically with the, we'll say, expose that his ex-wife wrote about him. And why don't you take us into that a little bit and give us your thoughts on that whole matter?
Well, I can say that I'm not surprised by it. I'm not sure how I feel about her writing an expose on it. And even she wrote, and if you read it, it's not super long. She writes how she would normally not say something about it. Right. I think she's really hurt, and I think she was tired of seeing him praised as a feminist when he was doing these things that hurt her. And I'm still conflicted how I feel about the whole thing. I believe that you can be kind of a shitty person and do shitty things to people you love, but you can still make stuff that makes a statement. You can enjoy something and enjoy a fandom, but recognize that something about it is problematic. Sure. And that's important. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to enjoy stuff that he has made or feminist statements that he has made in his work. It's just really interesting. His Twitter also, if you've been following, he's been getting a little meltdowny here and there on there, making some really odd comments. He made one about his mother when the president got elected too, that he was glad that she was dead so she wouldn't see that. Just like weird, where he probably thought there was humor in it, and maybe there was. Maybe his mom would have thought it was funny, but it really rubbed people the wrong way. And I know from personal experience, from people that have worked with him, without naming names, that he's done some pretty questionable things that really surprised me, because I was, and I guess still am, I'm still a Joss fan. I just, maybe I should say I'm a Joss Whedon work fan. I'm not sure that I'm a fan of him as a person. I don't think that I can be. But yeah, like I said, you can still enjoy his work, but recognize that there might be a problem.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have trouble separating the two, and unfortunately, like they're these titans in their industry, they're icons in our geek universe, especially somebody like Joss Whedon, and so we kind of want to put them on this pedestal, I guess we'll say, and not realize they're human beings just like everyone else. They're flawed, they do really shitty things, but I think it's a good exercise to still be able to really love and appreciate, like you said, films. I mean, Avengers is, undoubtedly like one of my top 3 favorite.
I mean, Firefly is
Firefly and Buffy.
Star Wars is my second favorite thing ever in the world.
Right, and I think, it's hard for people to do, but we kind of have to, I guess, maybe not look so much at the personal aspects and still appreciate the characters and the stories that those people are partly responsible for. And it sucks. It sucks especially when somebody is, professes to be one way and you really find out they're another way. How do you think that affects, we'll say, his reputation and his other stuff that we haven't seen yet, that maybe people were really excited about, and now because of this are not so excited about it?
I think that's definitely going to affect it. I mean, it's been happening for a while. I've noticed people before her expose came out, like, maybe we should stop hiring Joss for stuff, or I've heard that this and that about him, and while some of it's probably true, I mean, we don't know for not being there personally. It'll be interesting to see where it goes. It'll be interesting to see if he says anything. I kind of hope that he does. I hope that maybe this will be a mirror for him to look into, and maybe he can, I don't know. He needs to. I think he needs to say something about it. Whether it be, "Hey, it's none of your business, and I'm going to live my life how I want," or, "Hey, maybe I'll try to work on some stuff, take a step back. Sure. Maybe I'll try to show up my work." Even, I'm not sure. It's a really icky feeling to think about. So we'll see what happens with him and his future works.
Yeah, Deron, any thoughts on the whole matter?
Well, I mean, from my own perspective, it's none of my business. I don't know the man personally. I don't know his wife. Her putting that information out there, if it's something that was, therapeutic for her, then that's absolutely fine. But it's personal information. It's a personal matter that in my opinion, should have been handled personally.
Yeah.
If she wants to put the information out there, that's absolutely fine. But one thing that I'd say the most abstract thing I could say about it is, no matter how kind of shitty a person's actions are, if what they're saying is true, then you can separate the statement from the person making it.
Yeah.
Like, if he's saying something that is universally true, especially about feminism and representation, things of that nature, then just because he may be a shitty person personally doesn't make what he said any less true or any less relevant.
Right.
It's just a question of whether or not you want to. It's the question of whether or not the messenger, outshines the message.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. unfortunately, who knows what kind of effect it'll have, like we said, on his upcoming works. That'll remain to be seen. Hopefully none. I hope we still give everything he's working on a chance, because there's a lot of other talented people who work hard on those movies and shows. So
they still let Roman Polanski work. So
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of
Woody Allen's career.
Yeah, he's still apparently one of the most noted directors ever. So who knows? Mm-hmm. We're cool. It's all right. Josh can still have a successful career. Lot of controversies we're talking about tonight. But a controversy that had a positive outcome. We're going to talk about the whole issue of Ed Skrein. Don't know exactly how to pronounce his last name.
I call it. I pronounce it Skrein because it's
Ed Skrein. Yeah. Ed Skrein recently was cast in the Hellboy reboot as an Asian American character. Of course, a mass outcry of whitewashing unhappiness ensued after that. And being an apparently amazingly stand-up gentleman that he is, after all that stuff just started happening, he has graciously pulled out of the film project. Stating that, coming from I guess we'll say mixed ethnicity family, he understands the importance of representation in film and media. Pretty awesome thing to do. Being all of us, well, I'm going to put this in air quotes, are minorities. Christina's female, Deron's African American, I'm Hispanic American. This is all something that kind of hits home, definitely. So to see something like this with this kind of outcome is a huge positive step forward for things like that. What do you guys think about the whole thing just in general?
Well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go first.
Well, I'm a Hellboy fan, so I read the comics.
Yes.
I read the BPRD comics, so I know about Ben Daimio.
Yeah,
his Japanese heritage is part of the character.
Mm-hmm.
So if it were anything other than that, if the ethnic aspects of his character were not part of his character in the book, in the book or in the source material, then I probably would not necessarily have an issue with the casting. Right. But the fact that it is means that, people are going to say something. And honestly, I give full credit to both Ed Skrein for not only dropping out of the film, but not trashing the film or the producers or anything on the way out. Like he penned a really, really nice letter where it's just like, look, representation matters. I hope the production goes forward. I hope they look for someone that's a good actor. And the producers even backed him up and said, you know what, we're going to make it a point of looking for an Asian actor for this role. And that should technically be the end of it. Yeah. But you know how the internet works.
Yes.
It's a fickle, beautiful place. Fickle, beautiful place.
Exactly. I love you, but I hate you.
Exactly. Yes. Like the world's most beautiful pile of crap.
Yes. Well, Christina, any thoughts to add to that, being that you have read, obviously, several of the comics of Hellboy and are a fan of it as well?
Yeah, as he said, Daimyo being half Japanese is actually extremely important to his character. And I have to point out that there's nothing sexier than someone who is not tone deaf. So the fact that Ed Skrein listened to people and said, hey, this is a problem, and I'm going to back out because you guys should cast someone who's appropriate for this character. Yes, representation really does matter. And there's a lot of Asian actors out there that get passed over and get cast. White people get cast in their place instead. It does happen quite frequently. Right. So that's really good on him. And hopefully that sets an example for other actors in the future if they get cast as a character that maybe shouldn't have been a white character. Like any various things that have happened in the last few years with movies where it's like, why didn't you just cast the characters the appropriate race? Why didn't you cast that character?
Like the next live action anime.
Gotcha. And then of course trying to point out that it doesn't, the reverse, like Domino being a black actress. I'm like, it's not the same thing though. Like that's, her race doesn't come into an important part of her character where it did for Daimyo. So yeah, good on him. I hope it sets an example, and I really hope that they cast someone that'll fill that role really well. I'm excited to see it. So
yeah. Do you guys have any thoughts on who you would like to maybe see in that role? I know someone that we actually had on the Capes crew who most of us know as Nobu on the Daredevil series, Mr. Peter Shinkoda, is interested in playing the character. I think he'd be awesome. I think that's my pick for right now. Deron, is that who you're thinking as well?
Well, yeah, because I follow him on Twitter, so I saw the I saw the tweet, and I literally just as soon as I saw it, I responded. Like I replied to Lionsgate. I was like, make this happen, let's do it. And he and he liked the tweet, so I was like, yes, because he had that picture of him as Nobu with the scar on his face. I was like, yes, that's exactly it.
That's it, man.
I think he would be.
They need at least, they need to at least give him a shot, at least, man. That'd be awesome. He's a great fellow. He's a very talented actor. Obviously, he's an exceptional martial artist. They need to throw him in there.
Oh yeah, yeah. I just want to see him do stuff again because I really, I liked him. He was great.
Yes, I was just yell his last name when I see him. Shinkoda, Shinkoda, be in the Hellboy movie.
We should do. We should start like a hashtag, like Shinkoda for Hellboy.
Yes, Shinkoda. Excellent, my friends. Excellent. Why don't you guys say that we talk a little bit about our wide world of geek? I'm gonna go first tonight because we're talking about Daredevils and Defenders and Netflix. I bought some action figures. Yes, man. I'm a package opener. I purchased this week the Marvel Legends. I think the lineup they're calling this one is Marvel Knights, of course, which included based off the Netflix series Daredevil, Elektra, and from the show also there is Punisher and Jessica Jones. I found a Punisher. I may or may not have hidden him somewhere, so I can go back and buy him. I haven't been able to find Jessica Jones yet, but as far as the figures go, they did an exceptional job with the face sculpts. Articulation is always really good on these ones. They give them some really cool, like pivoty hip and knee joints, so you can pose them in all kinds of crazy, like martial arts actiony poses. Daredevil comes with an alternate pair of hands and his, what do you call this weapon, guys? Batons? That's what I've been calling them. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. We'll go with that.
The batons that become his, like, this is terrible. What do you call this?
They're not nunchucks, but we clearly know nothing about martial arts weapons. It's fine.
Yeah. We're awesome. We know shit. Elektra, who is also an exceptional looking figure, came with an alternate head, so you can display her without the, handkerchief thing around her face, the ninja mask, or you can display her with, and then she comes with her size and some extra cool, like, side kicking action. So it's super great figures. I love, me, guys. I'm all about my action figures and my toys. I also got to read Invincible Iron Man number 10. The continuing story of Riri Williams as Ironheart, who this issue just kind of cemented why I adore her so much. She's such a, like, you would think, like, a 15-year-old super genius wouldn't have her shit together. You know what? She's got her shit way more together than half of these superheroes that are out there. She's so, she inadvertently took over as ruler of Latveria after she had defeated Lucia von Bartis in the last issue. And, you'd think that'd be enough. She took it over. She handed it over. No. She wasn't content with that. She's currently just chilling with all these guys who are, like, special forces, big, brutish guys. And they're all like, oh, yeah, we got to play that rap song. She likes hearing that rap song. And her biggest concern is no political bullshit, none of this, any other stuff that some of these superheroes would be concerned about. Her concern is, what are you guys going to do to make sure that these people are taken care of when you guys take back over and when I leave? Are they going to have food? Are they going to have running water? Are they going to have, political asylum? Like, that's the kind of thing that she's worried about. Okay. This is like some of these other superheroes, they need to take a note from her and figure out this is how you do superheroing right here, okay? It's not about just you or whose government agency you're being funded by, you know, these guys that I'm wearing the shirt for.
Our president.
Yeah. What's gonna happen to the people who are innocent in all this? And Riri just like exudes heart, which of course that's why they gave her the name Ironheart. It's perfect. So a great character. I absolutely love every single one of these issues that I read with her in it. That book is by Bendis, Caselli, and Gracia. So if you haven't checked it out, please check out the Invincible Iron Man run with Miss Riri Williams as Ironheart. Super good. That's it. That's it for me, guys. Miss Christina, what have you done in your wide world of geek this week, madame?
Well, I finally watched Spider-Man: Homecoming and Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Finally. Can't watch Wonder Woman yet because it's not available on streaming, at least legally yet, and I want to make sure it's, you know, in HD. It's pretty. I love Spider-Man a lot. I had the best time. I'm not
so
sure.
much fun? Isn't it like hilarious? And
he's perfect, and the Vulture was one of the best bad guys in any Marvel movie. He was fantastic.
They had to get a Batman to have a good bad guy.
And I don't know if anybody else noticed the Easter egg, and it might not actually be an Easter egg. I thought I saw Felicia Hardy twice.
The girl with the blonde hair and the black sweater. Yeah,
it was really obvious that they like dressed her that way. So I'm not sure if it was intentional or not. But I was like, is that Felicia?
I thought it was either Felicia or Gwen. But yeah, I think I know.
Yeah. So I mean, it'd be kind of cool to put some Black Cat action in there. Guardians was great. The end had me sobbing the entire end. It was so good. Our Guardians 1 is still the better movie, but it was so much fun. All the little one-liners and listening to Drax laugh every 5 minutes. I had a really good time with it, and it had some good lessons in it too. What else did I do? Oh, I just started playing The Walking Dead Michonne, which is a Telltale game. So it's kind of like a point-and-click adventure, but it's not anything to like turn your nose up at. If you haven't played The Walking Dead games before, they're emotionally driven. You actually have to be pretty fast on your feet for answering questions. Like you have less than like 10 seconds to answer stuff. And that takes it's emotionally driven. So you have to really think about, and each action and thing that you say really does matter and could kill someone or affect the story down the line. So I'm on episode 3 and it's not as good as The Walking Dead 1 and 2, seasons 1 and 2, but it's really good. And the music in it is phenomenal. So it was free on PSN, so you might want to go check it out, but it's the Michonne Telltale Walking Dead game. That's cool. And I'm probably forgetting something. I'm always a geek, so I'm probably doing something else that I'm not even thinking about. But those are the big things that I finally kind of caught up on this weekend.
You know what I was reading about today that I'm really excited about, that they're coming out with a Pokemon Go-esque Walking Dead game.
Yes, I saw
it. Yes.
Yeah, man. That'll be so cool. That'll get me out of the house for sure.
I'm already playing I'm already playing Pokemon Go almost every day because I walk my dog, and so I play it.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna have to try to take 2 phones with me so I can play both.
Yes. Double fist in it. Deron, what did you do this week, my good sir?
Well, you know what? I went ahead and took a bullet for everyone and read Secret Empire number 10.
Darren, you're a good guy. You take a bullet for us every week or every time this comic comes out.
Our long national nightmare has ended.
Yes, that's what I'm hearing.
I'll put it to you this way. Of the entire series, this was the good issue. This was the one, and I say good in the sense of it straddled the line from not bad to readable. Right. So that's where it was. So in between there is good. It's like, it's a participation trophy of the series. Like it did its job. I mean, it happened. Yes. There were moments in there that were actually pretty good. Some of the hero moments were actually relatively heroic. I liked seeing the heroes finally getting together and actually acting like them. The Steve reveal, and I guess I'm not even necessarily spoiling it because the New York Post did, but but the Steve punching the crap out of Hydra Steve was fun. That was a great looking panel, especially when he picked up Thor's hammer and you saw how Hydra Steve was able to do it before, which was a little contrived, but but like I said,
so there was 2 Steves. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, it looks which is the thing is if at the end of the issue are there 2 Steves? Did they merge into one Steve? You never saw that.
This sounds dumb.
But apparently there's but thing is the next issue is Secret Empire Omega, which is how does Steve incorporate back into the world? But that's my question. Is it a Steve or is it the Steve?
Yeah, which one is it?
What if you don't care because you don't like Steve?
I've always liked Steve. I like Steve as the hokey kind of older brother, like uncle type. Like that's what I've enjoyed Steve Rogers as.
I want to
but yeah.
He's the paladin of the group, and I don't like paladins.
Damn paladins.
I got you.
Take all the credit for everything. Yes. Anything else, buddy, that you checked out this week?
I think the only other thing I've been doing is, I'm finally getting into a really good rhythm where I can write to the point where I can actually do things other than write at the end of the day. Because usually it would be like come home, get the kids fed, get them in the bed, and then write until it's time to go to bed. Like I've actually, gotten a good schedule going. So I've been playing Titanfall 2 for like the last night. So I finally found a way to get back into doing some gaming. And then I stop so I can write because I think of something that I need to write.
I gotcha. The you know what? One thing I didn't mention was I'm typically not a spoiler guy, especially when it comes to Marvel stuff. But that my love of Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man and Tony Stark supersedes that sometimes. I'm liking what we've been seeing. People that paparazzi and people hanging out around sets have been seeing with Iron Man and Pepper specifically, who probably not necessarily a big spoiler if you saw the end of Spider-Man Homecoming, but Pepper is back. We will see more of Pepper, which is super exciting. I love the romance between Tony and Pepper.
I love her Instagram hashtag of pepperoni.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about right there. The pepperoni. We got to see there's been some pretty good up close shots of Tony's new arc reactor.
It's a new arc reactor.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. The thing is it's like a plate now across his whole chest, man. It's wild. I'm already I'm trying to find my friends who are into 3D printing. I'm like, can we start working on this? Because I need it now, like yesterday. So I'm loving that. And they had there was a funny nice Twitter picture of Pepper and Tony and Happy saying the Trinity is back. So I'm looking forward to seeing those 3 together on the screen again. Anytime you get those personalities together, it's always some movie magic. So that's exciting. But
Iron Man 1 is still possibly my favorite Marvel movie.
See, this is why I love you. This is why we're friends, and I love you.
It's for me, it's the most watchable one. I can watch it over and over and over again. I mean, Guardians 1 is too, but there's something about Iron Man 1. I don't know. I love the shit out of it.
It's amazing. Yes, thank you.
Well, see, mine is definitely Winter Soldier, but Iron Man is. But you're absolutely right. Like Iron Man, you can put in at any point of the day and just sit and watch it.
And the music's good.
It'll pull you away from what you're doing, and you'll just be like, just watch it. Yeah,
it's so much fun.
Good. Can I go watch it now after we get off, please?
Well, now I have to.
Yes. Good spot to wrap up tonight, guys. Looking forward to next week when we will be having our first guests of the Geek Side podcast. We'll be bringing back the team of Ousley and Sawyer, the geniuses behind the Dead Palace book. They're about to kick off their Kickstarter campaign for this amazing horror anthology. So the guys will be on the show with us next week talking all things Dead Palace. And they honestly just told me they just want to come out and geek with us and talk about news and stuff. So we'll talk a little bit about their campaign and we'll get to their thoughts. Yeah, we'll get their thoughts on current geek news next week. Deron, your closing arguments for the evening, sir, this week.
Closing arguments, I don't know. There's just so much geek news coming, so much geek news that's going to be coming next week, so much casting stuff. Like I'm probably going to have like a geek explosion at the end of the week with all things Dragon Con. So just like literally just if you follow my Twitter feed, you follow like at Superpowered Fan, it'll be just inundated with Dragon Con news. So
dragons everywhere.
Exactly.
Dragons.
Yes. some fire dragons, some ice dragons.
Nice dragons too.
Yeah, and then my question is like, what do you call that? Is it ire or is it Feis?
Ooh, I like Feis.
Yeah. Ooh, Feis is good. Frostiness, I can feel it. Mr. Deron, generally, where should we find you on those Twitters where you be talking about all them dragons?
At Superpowered Fan on Twitter.
All right. Beautiful, man. Looking forward to it, my friend. Good talking to you tonight. Mrs. Christina.
Mrs.
Your closing. So weird. Yes, your closing statements for the evening, madame.
Well, Deron, have the best time at Dragon Con. I am very jealous. Yes. A lot of my friends are there this weekend, and anyone who's listening, if you're at Dragon Con, have an awesome time and pour one out for me. Yeah, just keep an eye on geeky news. It's going to be, I think, a really exciting next couple of months, and be excellent to each other.
Always. And Christina, your Twitter for our maybe hopefully new listeners who are tuning in.
You can follow me at booba_fet83.
Yes, Christina, you're amazing. Congrats again on your recent marriage.
Thank you.
As for me, friends, what I will be posting about probably like crazy, I'm going to promise you that I'll be tweeting definitely tomorrow about this. Tomorrow night for us Star Wars geeks is Force Friday, where we get to go at midnight and buy all kinds of new Star Wars merchandise that we don't need but desperately want. Yes, very accurate, right? And I mentioned this last time we talked about it. My number one most wanted item for tomorrow is the Poe Dameron Black Series helmet.
Yeah.
I plan to be like first in line at my local Toys R Us like last year because I want one of those bad. And some people have gotten a hold of them already, and everybody's saying by far as what they put out in the Star Wars line of those, we'll say higher end costume pieces that they've been putting out, it's probably their best one. So really extra excited about it now. So I'll be there probably I think I'm planning to get in line at about 8 o'clock tomorrow. So I'll be in line for a good 4 hours, and I'll be tweeting and, whining about the heat and the line. But I'll be excited because I'll be out there with some fellow Star Wars nerds and friends and anxiously waiting to buy and spend money. So so keep an eye on that, and I'll probably do an unboxing review video when I get the helmet in hand. So keep an eye out for that. As always, please continue checking out the site, the gww.com, for the latest in the world of geek, where our amazing team of writers and co-contributors are always putting some amazing stuff up there for your geek enjoyment. As always, you can find our crew on Twitter at _Geek Side Pod, and specifically me, you can find on Twitter at Darth Sparrow. For the whole crew, we love you. We wish you the best. If you're going to a con, Dragon Con, Long Beach Comic Con is this weekend. There's a bunch of local cons around California. If you're going to any one of those, have a blast. Tweet us your pictures. We love to see anything geeky. Me especially, I love seeing cosplay stuff. So give us a shout out, tag us in there so we can see what you're doing in the world of geek. And as always, we'll catch you next week when again we'll be catching you on that geek side. Peace.